I got a little show and tell for y'all. I am hopefully going to take it for granted that people at the Token Summit believe one core thesis that there's going to be a tokenized future. And so thinking positive, we'd like to project forward. What does that mean? What are the pain points if tokens are successful, if blockchains are successful, if cryptocurrencies are successful? What is chess move number 5, number 6, number 7, projecting down into, projecting up into the future? And we'd like to think and present a project that we have initiated earlier this year out of Block Labs, our tokenized network business unit, which is Vesper, an AI resource management engine. Now, what is the problem if we, again, project forward into the future, 2, 3, 5 years? We're going to have a lot of tokens, and there's going to be a lot of management, a lot of friction points involved in that. Very specifically, it's helpful to talk about a specific use case to contextualize. Think about if you're a developer and you need some compute, some network, some data storage services. Now, there exist several utility token projects out there that can satisfy this need, but you have the problems of resource discovery, what tokens are out there. You have the pain point of these tokens are utility tokens floating on the free market. So I think a lot about user experience and mental friction. There's mental friction involved in thinking, well, what entry price do I need? I need 10 gigabytes of storage. How does that map to this particular token? Oh, that token just jumped. Oh, it just dipped a little bit. Maybe I need to buy more to project or hedge into the future. All of that is, that writ large is a lot of mental friction when you consider one token. Now consider if we're trying to provide a Amazon Web Services type experience, combining compute, network, storage, database services. The user experience is, I just want to pay some money and get some service. How do we boil that down to, we've got all these blockchain networks over here, they're very complex. I have to download a full node, I have to engage in the free market, I have to think about valuations, etc. And then as a user, I just want some data storage. I just want some compute service, some compute cycles. That's the problem. We have multiple tokens in a token successful future, multiple wallets, multiple price charts. It's hard to manage. Mental friction. Vesper is the solution. What we're building is an engine, a centralized core that takes as inputs a number of metrics that you optimize your use case for. Again, in this example, compute network storage. Imagine building a competitor to Amazon Web Services. You put a single token into the front end, that's your payment. The back end is going out to the free market, it's allocating resources, it finds the tokens, it buys the tokens on the exchange, it uses the tokens, and then it delivers service back to the user. So a very simplified user experience, but again, the back end is all these blockchain networks, all the tokens that you've been hearing about today at Token Summit, previously at Consensus, etc. So we do this resource discovery, a search phase. Find the tokens that map to the user's use case. We optimize using both narrow AI, sort of if this then that type rule logic, as well as machine learning. We optimize across a number of metrics and variables. And then again, Vesper, the engine that we're building, is the one that engages in the free market, searches for the tokens, buys the tokens on a decentralized exchange or centralized, uses the tokens, and provisions service for delivery. So the underlying magic is really optimizing across a number of generic variables that the machine learning engine is aware of, as well as component-specific variables. In this case, compute, network, database, storage, your typical cloud computing type services. So Vesper version 1 looks a little bit like this, and this is a bit of a preview. The business model, again, it's focused on user experience. I've spent almost 10 years in the cryptocurrency space. That's where I got all my gray hairs. And it's all about lesson learned. It's all about outcome. You know, it's not about did I pick Ethereum or Bitcoin or whiz-bang technology 3, 4, 5. What is that outcome? What is that user experience? And the user experience in crypto right now, frankly, sucks. You have to deal with these long, incomprehensible strings, hashes, addresses. I don't know if that hash or address has been replaced by someone malicious with a man-in-the-middle attack, something like that. That's been used to exfiltrate funds from companies in days and years past. That doesn't belong in a safe and secure user experience. So how do we give a safe, secure user experience? That's one that's simple, easy for the user to understand, easy for the user to prove it works right. And we hide all the multi-blockchain network, multi-token, free market up and down. We hide all that pain point on the back end of Vesper. So we're really building if you think of utility tokens as being attached to resources that will be managed, resources that will be allocated. Not talking about security tokens, not talking about cryptocurrencies. Utility tokens that I take a token and I use it and it gives me some service, some value. Vesper plugs into that entire utility token ecosystem and is really going to be the first best customer for Coin. Vesper is going to be the first best customer for Filecoin or Storage or Golem or pick your data or Orchid, etc. Ultimately, what you're looking at, and this is an example of just our MVP, just one instance of Vesper as it is applied to a decentralized version of Amazon Web Services. So our technical roadmap, it starts out very simple. I'm not gonna bore you with all of that verbiage. Our timeline is looking at early next year as a public beta test, and we'd like all of you to visit vesper.io, learn more, and come and engage. We think that this opens the door to utility tokens in a way that really hasn't occurred before. Thank you very much.